Hello there. Okay, so maybe this is the introduction, I'm guessing. All right. Well done anyway for reducing it down. There's no point in doing more than 275. There's no point in doing more than 250. Okay, so just try to bear that in mind for the next essays you write. Let's get cracking. Historically, schools were only an opportunity for education. They had an absolute control on children's learning processes. Or had an absolute control on the learning process, would be more accurate. Some people believe that traditional schooling systems, or the traditional school system, is boring and we could say fails to contribute to the development of individual talents. And by saying fail to, we're using one verb instead of a negative construction. We're saying the same with less words, which is more succinct and it's a better style and it's nearer to native speaker writing. Okay, a good native speaker writing, I should say, because not every native speaker writes so eloquently. Let's go. I agree with this statement and demonstrate my opinion with reference to the importance of an individual approach. And okay, here, right? All of this, okay, is what I call an empty sentence. You can drop that into any essay, or almost any essay in the world, okay? In fact, you could probably drop it into all of the sentence, all right? So this is why we need to say something like, using examples from, let's see, using examples from Russia and, okay, no, something else. All right, let's see. Okay, then also Nataliya, really try to follow the sentence guide, okay? Because if you're following the sentence guide, it's going to be much easier to construct the essay and it's going to flow a lot better, okay? And there's going to be no ambiguity, all right? And if you'd have followed it, you would have probably written a different final sentence to that. So have a look at your PDF, have a look at the sentence guide, okay? And really have a read of it. And I'd like to see the next essay you write following that guide, okay? Following those instructions. So the traditional educational education systems focus on average students. From my point of view, the reasons for this are the inability to provide an individual approach, scarce budget, and human resources. Okay. The goal of all alternative methods of education is providing an individual approach for every student to understanding their natural talents. Children of our friends use one of the alternatives, education at home. Thanks to this method, he can choose his individual rhythm of learning, organize his day to keep the subject the same, and be more responsible for the final result. Okay, not bad, but really follow the sentence guide and we wouldn't have made some of the mistakes that we just did with this example. Okay, we should make it a general example. For example, numerous children in Moscow or whatever, or numerous children in Glasgow are adopting home schooling, and studies show that they can choose their own individual rhythm, organize their day, and be more responsible for the final results. As the study indicated, this clearly increases this clearly increases the intelligence of the child, blah, 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 blah. All right? But read the sentence guide. On the other hand, traditional education systems usually underestimate such subjects such as, underestimates subjects such as art, music, and dance. There is still a strong association between school and more important subjects such as mathematics, physics, and English. So in the sentence guide, you'll see that there's a list or instructions for giving a list, and it says you have to say mathematics, comma, physics, comma, and English. Sorry, no comma on the last, physics. Okay, and we don't put and between them. We have well-known examples from our history proving an importance of balanced and multifaceted education. Wonderful vocabulary. In 18th and 19th centuries in Russia and in some European countries, art, music and dance were mandatory. However, nobody can say that people living that time did not get outside of the other subjects. Well, don't know what that means really. Okay? So we shouldn't have even put that sentence there, and if we'd have followed the sentence guide, we would have put a different one. So please have a look at that. To conclude, the biggest challenge for the most serious challenge for almost all educational systems, okay, or to conclude, the serious challenge for every education system is to recognize individual talents of children. This task is hardly possible for traditional schooling systems. The development of new methods of education will hopefully help to discover individual talents and make them grow. Okay, can you see we've got conflict there? We've got an individual talents. Okay, anyway, let's just have a look at the task one. Okay, then let's go. So the 3 pie charts give or show information about the spending in 3 regions. Provide information about the spending in the UK for 3 regions, or in the UK for Lancashire, Derbyshire and Yorkshire. Full stop. Okay, it is immediately obvious that there are some quite significant differences between the 3 charts. Okay, don't need that sentence. Okay, closer look at the data reveals that Yorkshire spent 35% of its budget on education, the largest expenses in the region in 2014. Okay, okay. Right, some expenditure in Lancashire and Derbyshire was accounted for. Some. We can't be so vague. Okay, we need to put specific expenses. Yeah, education or leisure. What was it? Derbyshire had the highest leisure expenditure share at 40%, while Lancashire spent on leisure 30%, and Yorkshire did about 20% of their total budget. No. What we'd have to say is here, okay, Derbyshire spent the most on leisure at 40%, while Lancashire spent 30% and Yorkshire 20% of the total budget. Okay, so it was close. Interestingly, we don't need that interestingly either. Okay. We could just start. Spending on community care was equal between Yorkshire and Derbyshire at 15%. Perfect sentence that would have been. Lancashire's expenditure for the same category was 10%. Good. We could have even just squeezed in a comma and put it all together. Yorkshire's expenditure on the environment was the lowest at just 5%, while the lowest spending amount in Derbyshire was on social services, and in Lancashire it was also on the environment. So we should have grouped those together really, Lancashire and Yorkshire, and we didn't really have to go into the percentages. We could have just said the lowest for each one. But it's good though, it's good. You're choosing the right data, which is good. To sum up, our overall is probably better. Overall, the 3 regions in the UK spent the most significant part on their budget on education and leisure, and spent roughly the smallest on environmental and social services. Very good. Okay, and that was the one that had to be edited. But really, you should follow the sentence guide for that one, like I said. So, I think that's the end of the course. I'd like to carry on working with you. I've sent you some links. Yeah, let me know if you want to continue. I'd love to carry on. Okay, Nataliya, you've done well, and well done for completing it. Done excellent.